If you're just joining this journey without having watched the previous videos, this video series is the story of my overland adventure through Oregon and Washington. Over the span of 2 weeks, I traced approximately 2,600 miles of rugged backcountry roads and remote Pacific Northwest wilderness, living out of my Jeep dispersed camping the entire time. I mostly followed the Oregon and Washington Pacific Crest Overland routes, and the Olympic Traverse route. I also deviate from the PCORs and follow a few small sections of the Oregon and Washington backcountry discovery routes at times, since they crisscross each other many times and often follow very similar or identical paths. This day starts above Packwood, follows the PCOR over the mountain ranges to the southeast entrance of Mount Rainier National Park. From there, it circles the east side of Rainier to Tipsoo Lake, then continues west towards the Olympic Peninsula.
Oh, she's behind the clouds. It looks cool behind the clouds, though. From the looks of it, unfortunately, I don't think these clouds are going to move anytime soon to get a real view of Rainier. But, I mean, I am headed that way. So I'm sure I'll get some views today, once these clouds burn off maybe a little, in a few hours. Slept good, no signs of bear activity. I even set up my Arlo camera. I think it's Arlo. Yeah. I set up my Arlo camera and my motion detector on my Devos light. And nothing. Not a single movement, not a single creature stirred in the night. I still don't think that was a bear. Those were bears I was hearing. There's no way. Doesn't make any sense. It had to have been some sort of bird, or I don't even know. I don't know. But the plan is, like I was saying last night, is to spend all day around Rainier, basically. And then the later half of the day, latter part of the day, head to the Olympic Peninsula. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Rainier today and to wake up on the Olympic Peninsula tomorrow. We can see the peak of Rainier. As far as this lens of mine reaches. Look at that beauty. There it is. In all of her glory. Look at that mountain. I am going to be exploring that, around that today, all day today. We walk over this and That's probably a 100 feet down. That's cool. Old Goobs really likes to snoofle sometimes.
The amount of wildflowers on this portion of the route through these mountain ranges was absolutely insane. There were so many different colors, so many different flowers, and they would just be covering both sides of the road. They never seemed to end. they would start to taper off a little bit, and I would think that was the end of them, only to be greeted by another huge portion of them, seemingly for a mile at a time. I've gone back and forth during editing this video whether I'm including too much wildflower footage, and honestly, I just can't bring myself to cut it down anymore. The reality is, what I have included in this video is just a very small portion of how many wildflowers were on this route.
I did not even notice that Rainier is right out my window until now. The peak of it. We have a major problem. This road is closed. And as you can see, that is precisely the road I need to go on. I'm gonna see if I can get the drone to around there and see if it's this road that's actually closed, or if it's this road that's actually closed. If they're both closed, I'm going to have to backtrack clear down to here. That's the section I just did, and it probably took me an hour or two. I cannot backtrack that entire section, so my next best option would just be to follow this 47 road back to the highway and then all the way around, which will be really obnoxious. There was no indication whatsoever back further that this road was closed. I seen a road close sign literally like a quarter mile ago. Other than that, nothing. Nothing indicating. It's quite obnoxious. But what can you do, I guess? There's so much tree cover here. I don't know how far I can get the drone before service. If I can get around this corner, this road closed sign corner, like literally right on that corner. If I can just go this little piece right here and hook onto this, I can follow that around there to cut off essentially this whole section and that section up there. But we're gonna try the drone thing, see what the drone can teach us.
One particular problem I quickly figured out in the Pacific Northwest that I very rarely deal with back home is the sheer density of the tree cover makes flying a drone quite difficult. I tried to scout it, as you can see here, and it's just so dense you can barely see the road a lot of the time, but it was worth a try.
I am going to take a peek around it, see if I can at least get around this corner On the drone, I couldn't see anything that's closing it. I'm assuming it's probably like a washout or something. That's why it's closed. I don't particularly recommend doing this, and you should not do this. Do not do this at home. But I would lose so much time backtracking. Dude, it's at least worth checking out. Like, if it's a crazy washout or something blocking the road, that's fine. I'll turn around, obviously. But if I leave this road, if my route takes me off this road before the actual obstacle of why this road is closed, then no harm, no foul, if you ask me. I'm not sure what's going on here, but it has to be a washout. Whatever it is, a washout, damn it. And look where I am. All I need to do is get around this corner, and I could have took this bypass. So we are going to have to backtrack. Clear back to Highway 45 or whatever it is I said it was. And then go clear around on the highway to probably Longmire, because that's where this was taking me. That washout must be pretty gnarly for them to park machinery across the road right like that to block people. Update. We do not have to backtrack. There is an alternate route. I seen it on Gaia, verified on Onyx here. Cat Creek. So we were going through Berry Creek, apparently. It looks like we can reroute Cat Creek. Kind of follow the same. This is the original route. We'll go Cat Creek instead. And that should do relatively the same thing. We're gonna try that. We're here at the junction, so off we go. It's a good thing I checked Onyx, because I somehow didn't even notice that route on Gaia. That is one thing that Onyx does better, is how it highlights a lot of trails and routes, so they're like very easily distinguishable, and they pop out at you, especially when you're having the route find yourself or reroute yourself, like I just had to do. I do still like Gaia more. Overall, Gaia does more. It has more features. It has a steeper learning curve, but I would say if you have an existing route mapped already, Gaia is better, superior. It does everything Onyx does, but better, and plus more. If you do not have a existing route mapped already, and you're just route finding as you go, kind of, I would say Onyx is better. That's my unprofessional take on Onyx versus Gaia. Just look at the amount of moss present here. Look at these trees. And look in there. That is crazy. I'm a slut for moss, bro. this area of Washington is so amazing. We keep like dropping in, being in the mossy fern rainforesty type thing, and then keep climbing up it, like out of that into like more pine trees, more alpine type stuff, and then dropping back down into the mossy fern rainforesty. I can't even handle it. I can't even handle this right now. I have any no words. There are so many flowers here that it's insane. Look at all these. And they've just been on the road the whole time for a while now. Just all along the road. Check this place out. It's just a random road. Check these trees out. Check that bad boy out. There, over there. I don't. understand how people live here and not just live in the forest. That detour, that different route, that was so beautiful. That was awesome. That worked out. That ended out working out very well, if you ask me.
I was honestly not expecting Mount Rainier area to be as rainforesty feeling as it was. It felt like I was in some sort of magical fairy tale land compared to what I'm used to back home. I was originally planning on hiking at least a very small portion of the Skyline Trail. I couldn't have done the whole thing or very much of it at all because I had Gabby with me, and she would have had to have stayed in the Jeep. But I literally could not find parking, and the rows of parked cars went on for at least a mile down the road on a random Monday afternoon, so I just kept driving. Going into this trip, I assumed that Mount Rainier would be a crown jewel of the trip, or at least a crown jewel of Washington. The reality of it, though, vastly exceeded my initial expectations. Just the varied landscapes and geography of the national park blew me away. The base is quite literally basically a rainforest, moss covered forest with ferns, and then the top is alpine. And just that variation of landscape in such a relatively short time on the road is just so cool to me. Overall, it's one of my favorite national parks that I've ever been to now. And if you know me well, crowds of people usually equate to bad for me. I will go out of my way to avoid such things. So if I'm saying a national park that was this busy on a random Monday afternoon is still one of my favorites, you can take my word for it that it's probably pretty good. One thing I've noticed throughout my travels now is that the foreigners at national parks are always very interesting. At this particular stop at this lake, I had one lady excitedly tug at her husband's sleeve and whisper quite loudly that that guy must be a professional. He's a professional. Assuming because of my camera gear I was carrying. Another time further in this trip, I had one guy come up to me and ask me if I worked for National Geographic. I got a kick out of that one. Because little did they both know that in reality, I actually barely know what I'm doing with the camera. On top of being very interesting to watch and interact with, I have noticed that they tend to be very polite, much more polite than the Americans. So we just left, what was it? Tipsoo Lake. Very pretty. Tons of wildflowers. It was probably the perfect time of year to hit it right now. It looks like they were in peak bloom. I'm backtracking just a little ways down the hill here, probably like a half a mile, to take Highway 410, I think it is, to head to the Olympics. Well, it says I should get there about 9:21 p.m. I would like to say that Mount Rainier, this whole area around Mount Rainier, absolutely has blown me away. It may be my favorite national park, like in all of them I've been to, which used to be Zion or Canyonlands, I think, or Sequoias. Mount Rainier may take it, and I didn't even do any of the hikes, even without doing hikes, just driving through it.
I was absolutely floored with Mount Rainier National Park. I haven't been in actual civilization, like any larger than tiny little towns, briefly in tiny little towns, for almost 5 days now. And we're coming down into civilization here. And I will tell you what, not a fan. Immediately dislike. We are at camp. It is 10:30. We probably got here half an hour ago though, maybe more. I tried to go to Falls Creek Campground. I don't know why I did such a thing, honestly. I don't know why I tried to go to a established campground. Every time I try an established campground, it's always a shit show. They're always like 3 feet away from each other, which is annoying with Gabby because she likes to wander. And Falls Creek was full. I was gonna go another one down the road, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So I backtracked like probably a mile or two, turned on to the first Forest Service road I found, went down it for probably a mile, and here we are. We're in like an old quarry. But yeah, it'll do for the night, because we're just waking up and then going doing some hikes, rainforest hikes, the tallest spruce hike or something like that. I don't know. We have a lot to do tomorrow, so we got these steak kebabs cooked. We got some instant potatoes, and we got the rest of our strawberry parfait. Pretty good dinner. Gonna eat, do a little research on my laptop, up in the tent, go to sleep, wake up, pack up, and get going.
Special thanks to the Overland Trail Guides team and contributors, and the Backcountry Discovery Routes team and contributors for curating and providing these incredible routes, and providing access to the incredible wealth of knowledge that they do in regards to these routes and all the other routes that they have spent so much time on. Without them, creating a route like this trip from scratch would be incredibly time consuming.